Okay, good afternoon everyone and welcome to our Friday webinar. Today we're going to be looking at special cutouts and also a quick look at pipe chasers. We're using CabMaster Pro v11.1.0.121, which is the latest current version of CabMaster available. Before we run through the interface, I'll quickly run you through what questions we're going to answer today. And they are, what are special cutouts? Where do I set up special cutouts? What type of special cutouts are there? How do I position special cutouts? How do I make sure special cutouts machine the way I want? How can I turn my special cutouts into custom boring routing? We are also going to introduce pipe chasers and answer questions like what they are, where can I set up pipe chasers, why they're two different types, and how can we do pipe chasers in drawers. We are going to cover most things related to special cutouts and pipe chasers and show a couple of things we can do with them, but we might not get to everything. If there is something you'd like to know how to do, and we have time at the end, we will answer what questions you have. We apologize if we run out of time for questions today. We do have quite a lot to cover. In the webinar interface, you can ask questions in the webinar interface by clicking Q&A and then typing your questions in there. You can type them as we go instead of waiting until the end, because we have Aaron here to respond to your questions as we go. You can leave the webinar at any time by clicking the red phone button at the bottom of the screen. If you do leave the webinar early, you're probably going to miss out on the big secret about pipe chasers. I promise it will be worth staying until the end. The video will be uploaded to YouTube within the week, so you can always catch it there as well. Our first question is, what are special cutouts? Special cutouts are essentially additional machining that can be added to various parts of the cabinet. With a little bit of know-how and out-of-the-box thinking, we can turn these cutouts into nearly any uncommon machining you might need or for day-to-day use. They can be saved into the cabinet, set up in the Library Catalog Manager, and then be turned on with a checkbox when needed. Special cutouts are fantastic for machining one-off things like cable entries. They are faster than using the machining editor, and they'll also adjust with the cabinet, and they won't unlock the part they're applied to, like custom machining or not custom machining, machining editor will. Special cutouts are also great for setting up custom machining, so custom tables that you might like to use in various other cabinets. Now, you're probably thinking at this point, special cutouts sound incredible, and you're beginning to ask me, where do I set up special cutouts? In a cabinet, you can go to cabinet machining and then special cutouts. Here you can set up 5 different special cutouts at a time. If you need more, then you can export some as custom tables, then apply them as a custom table, and then change your special cutout as you need. We'll go over this later. We will do a webinar on custom boring and routing later on, so this will be a good lead into that. You turn on each special cutout by ticking the box, so you can have them, the details in there, and then just turn them on and off with the checkboxes as you please. And then you can select the part of the cabinet that you want it to apply to. Not all parts have special cutouts applied or available. Keep that in mind. We will close that. So what types of special cutouts are there? There are 3 types of special cutouts: circle, rectangle, and slot. Circle will specify the radius. Rectangle will specify the width, the height, and the radius of corners. and slot is now completely obsolete thanks to rectangle. Both circle and rectangle are closed shapes. Slot is an open line, and as such, this is going to create great difficulty getting strategies to assign in AEST. It is very limited, and everything you could have used slot for can now be done with rectangle. So we're not going to discuss the slot option today. All the options give you the choice of cutting through the part. If you untick through, you can set your own depth. So I bet you're asking or wanting to know, how do I position my special cutouts? At first, special cutouts don't appear to be intuitive. This is because we're used to measuring from corner to corner or edge to edge of cabinets in the plan. But when we actually measure a hole or a drill center in CabMaster, we are measuring to the center of the hole, not to the edge. Special cutouts work this way, based on the center of the cutout, not the edge of the cutout. The start point, the geographical 0, 0, can be selected from the top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. In this case, we have bottom left. That's our start point there. We have 4 positioning options: X fraction, X position, Y fraction, Y position. The 2 fraction options only accept a value between 0 and 1. For example, a Y fraction of 0.5 would place the part halfway, or place the cutout halfway up the part to the center of the cutout. Y is up and down, X is side to side. X pos and Y pos, or X position, Y position, are simply measurements from the start point to the center of the cutout. This is great if your part size changes, but you need the cutout to stay the same distance relative to 2 edges. Alternatively, if you want a cutout to be centered, no matter what size the part is, that's when you use the fraction option. And of course, we can mix and match these. So you could use the X fraction, so you could lock it to 0.5 side to side, and then use the Y position and set a fixed distance from there to there. A good example of this is a cutout in an undermount range hood. Here we have an overhead under panel. It's 1800 wide, 350 deep. If we go to cabinet machining and then special cutouts, our cutout for it is 600 wide, 230 high. Say we want it centered left to right and a 30mm clearance at front from the front edge of the part to the front edge of our cutout. We set the start point as bottom left or bottom right. So bottom left, bottom right. It doesn't make any difference here as we're centering it horizontally. X is left to right. So we can set that fraction as 0.5, click tab, and we can see that our cutout centers that way. Now Y is up and down. So we set the Y pos to the distance we want the cutout to be from the front of the edge panel plus half of the cutout height. So if that there was intended to be 30 from that line to that line, we want our distance from the front, so that value, plus half of our cutout height. So in YPOS, if we type in here 30 plus open bracket, our part height, which is 230 divided by 2, close bracket, press tab, you can see our Y position is 145. Now that is 145 from this edge to the center of our cutout, and we can double check that by clicking on that corner. We can see there's our 30, so that's up and down. There's our 600 side to side. Now it's an 1800 part, and our cutout is 600, so that should be 600. So we've got 600 there to there, 600 to there, another 600 to there. You can, of course, put far more complicated equations into these boxes, and any value between 0 and 1, you can put 4 decimal places in there if you really wanted to. There's 2 limits to positioning cutouts. The first is the cutout will not extend beyond the border of the part by more than half of the diameter of that cutout tool set in drawing properties. What I mean by that is if we go to drawing properties here, Mac General, we go tool, we see cutout, the diameter for our tool for cutout is 10 mil. If I set this here back to 0 tab and I zoom right in, it will not extend past the border more than half the diameter of that, which is 5. The second is that circles need to be on the part entirely in order to machine. If the circle crosses over the border, then the layer will not show correctly and thus it won't machine on the CNC. We change that to 100 for our circle. We can see that it moves onto the part and it is now a solid color. This brings us to a very important question. How do I make sure my special cutouts machine the way I want? So special cutouts provide a layer just like any other machining in CabMaster. Layers in CabMaster match up to layers in AEST. AEST has different strategies with different tools assigned to those layers. Now, when doing special cutouts, ask yourself, what do I want this special cutout to do? Some examples are, do I want the cutout to go through the material and the middle will be a scrap piece, like with our range hood under panel cutout? Do I want it to be hogged out like a shaker door? Do I want it to be drilled like a hinge cup? And how deep do I want it to go? Once you have answered these questions, then you can ask yourself, do I have a strategy in AEST that already does what I'm wanting? If the answer is yes, all you need to do is find the strategy and associated layer name in AEST, and then apply that layer name to your special cutout. The drop-down list here will show 4 default options. But basically, you can type in anything in those boxes and make it a layer name. As long as it has a strategy assigned to it in AEST, it should machine on the CNC unless you're using the slot. Let me be clear, when it comes to layer names and strategies, everyone has different tooling, different strategies, and different CNC machines. If you are not sure the layer name you're using is correct, you can check in CabMaster to see what else uses that layer name. An easy way to do that is to just go machining, click on the part, and we can see that one is layer screw, and our border is layer border. Or in AEST, or sorry, in CabMaster, set the depth as 1 mil and run a test on the machine and see what it does. If it's set as 1 mil, it's far less likely to go through the part. If you are heading into uncharted territory, or you are very, very nervous about doing your first special cutout and machining it, you can contact CabMaster support for guidance. The last thing anyone wants is to damage a machine or break a tool because a wrong layer name was used or a wrong depth was entered. So how can I turn my special cutout into a custom cutout? Special cutouts can be turned into simple custom tables with the Export to Custom Tables button. Say we want a 53mm wide cable pass-through in the right end of a cabinet. That one there. Remember, the radius is half the width of the circle. So if it's a 53mm wide circle, it's a 26.5mm radius. We can click the Export to Custom Tables button, select the special cutouts we want to turn into the custom table. We can click Next. We can also add conditional variables. For example, if we go to, we want to set the part height is greater than, and we'll put in 100 millimeters. Press Tab, click on Next, and we'll give it a name. For example, go pass through right floor. And we'll click Next. If the table already exists, it will then ask if you want to update it. Only update a custom table if you know what you are replacing. This is a very quick way to overwrite existing tables. We'll click Yes, and then we'll click Finish. Now, if we untick that, you can see our special cutout's gone. We go to Custom. In our end right, we want our pass-through right floor. And we go Apply and OK. And there's our custom table that was created from our special cutout. Now we put the conditional formatting in that says the part height has to be greater than 100 mil. Now this is a cabinet sitting on the floor, no kicker. So if we set that as 100, tab, our custom cutout is gone. If we go +1 millimeter, tab, there's our cutout. Now you can use special cutouts to create some truly awesome custom tables. You can find documentation on special cutouts and its features by clicking the Help button just there. So now we've covered special cutouts, let's have a quick look at pipe chasers. A pipe chase is a cutout in an entire cabinet, not just part of a cabinet, and with this comes additional parts that will box around the cutout. There are two methods for pipe chase. Both work differently and have different features. Keep in mind that pipe chasers will interact differently depending on the cabinet type, be it standard, split, universal, corner, etc. So where can I set up pipe chasers? The first and most common place is in label construction and pipe chase. We can turn that on. This allows us to set the width, the depth, and the position. It can be centered or choose a distance from the left or from the right. We can cut out around the bench top. We can do the cutout only, get rid of fronts and sides. And of course, we can include the adjustable shelf gap around the chase as well. There is also this tick box to include adjustable shelf holes in the pipe chase. Now, this can also be turned on at a drawing properties level by going to Machine Shelf Mullion. In general, we've got that tick box there, include adjustable shelf holes in pipe chase. And we can see that it goes around there. I'll turn on machining so we can see that 3D wireframe, machining options, view machining in 3D. And we can see our adjustable shelf holes in there. Go back to 3D hidden. So the second pipe chase option is a little harder to find. It's in cabinet machining, define cutouts, and then tick enable custom or enable cabinet cutout. You can see that we have 4 new folders appear down the left. If we go to cabinet cutout position, and then in dimensions, we can see that it is 100 wide, 100 wide there, and 100 deep. Now, this pipe chase, so this is this one here, measures external. The pipe chase from labour and construction measures internal. So in cabinet cutout position, we can actually set the height as well. So we can untick full height, change the height there. And with the anchor Z option, we could center it if we want to. We could also set it to bottom center, untick that. It'll put it down the bottom. I am going to put it back on center though. That locks the pipe chase to where it is in the cabinet. You can move the position of it left and right. For example, if we uncenter our X value and we set it from the right 200 mil, tab, again, it centers from there to the center, whereas this one goes 200 mil between. Just little things to be aware of. And then if we go to parts, we can turn on a top and a bottom. You can change how this pipe chase here is constructed. And now we have a pipe chase that is completely enclosed. The section I do want to show you is the quick start guide. This is what makes it really exciting, because it's not something you can do with a regular pipe chase, is that we've seen our vertical pipe chase. We also have horizontal pipe chase. Now this lets us determine the height from the top of the carcass, the depth and the height of the actual chase. Keep in mind that pipe chases done with the defined cutouts feature will not automatically get the adjustable shelf holes applied. But there is our horizontal pipe chase, and of course we can position that as we choose. We will center it in the Y, which is center in the Z, 0 tab. We can have our pipe chase behind our shelf. There are many other options for defined cutouts. I've just introduced the feature to today. Again, we will have another webinar coming up on defined cutouts as well. So the final predetermined question we already have is how do you put a pipe chase in a drawer? So a pipe chase will cut out around shelves automatically, or will cut the shelf out around the pipe chase automatically, I should say. But if we put in a drawer cabinet, it won't do that. Need to open this one. There we go. So we can put in our defined cutout, put that back. Drawers don't have the pipe chase option in labeling instructions, so it has to be done in cabinet machining defined cutout. Enable that. Use the quick start guide to position pipe chase. We'll go top and go next. Next. Allow for gap at top. We don't want that. Allow for gap at bottom. Yes. Allow for gap back and front, and we'll go finish. We put our pipe chase in like that. And then in cabinet details, go to sync drawers, and you just turn them on and then position from the front accordingly to suit. And of course, your sync drawers don't have to be centered. So if your pipe chases to one side of the cabinet, you can move the sync cutout to match. So that covers the scripted section of today's webinar. We'll have a look at some questions and we'll see what we've got. We don't have any questions today, which I'm hoping is a good thing because it means that I've explained everything nice and clearly. Next week's webinar is going to be on photo view and optimizing your drawings to get the best out of your renders so you can wow your clients with amazing 3D views of your kitchens. Excellent. Until next time, have a great week and we'll see you next Friday.